Who are you, sir?
Hiya Christian, my name is Steve Goode. I work for one of the country's leading coffee roasters, and as a leading coffee roaster we are sponsoring the UK Barista Championship for the next 2 years.
Fantastic. And you're going to show me today how to set up a coffee grinder, are you not?
Well, there are many coffee grinders on the market, okay? This particular grinder is my home grind, and I will show you how to set that one up and give you some tips on setting, as all grinders work on the same principle, but some will work either anti-clockwise or clockwise when you adjust the grind. Okay, as a rule of thumb, the specific things to the grinder are the same.
Cool, so what do we need to test a grind? What kind of kit?
Well, when I'm setting up a grinder, the basic kit I use is obviously fresh beans, ideally unopened until you actually need to use them. A set of gram throw scales, a timer, a stopwatch, and a machine.
Fantastic. Okay, show me how.
Fresh beans into the hopper.
What kind of beans do you like to use yourself here?
My personal preference is a coffee with a Robusta. The Robusta element, I believe, helps it to come through the milk and sugar. Okay, it's a typical Italian espresso. Quite a high Robusta content with this one, but not particularly over roasted. Okay, first things first, Christian, I will just run off enough coffee. Ideally, we don't want to waste coffee. Coffee's a very expensive commodity. I fill the first 3 chambers. And stop the grind. Okay, put my ground coffee back into the hopper. I know, but then that the next 2 shots I pull will give me 7.5 grams of coffee. Okay, straight into the group head. We knock out the old coffee. Quick wash under the shower plates. Using the towel provided. Just dry out the group head.
Is this a typical group head?
Typical group head, I think this is a 57mm wider group head. There are 53mm group heads, various sizes, probably 2 or 3 sizes of group head. This is fairly standard. Right, 2 good shots, and I'm a little bit heavy on the grinder. Ideally, any coffee that's stuck to the side of the dispenser, I want to fall in. It gives me a more accurate gram throw every time.
And we've already measured this to be exactly 7.5 grams.
Using the scales. Just tap the side of the group head, levels the coffee off, and then with my tamper, using a tamp of about 30 to 40 pounds of pressure.
And you can use a more expensive one here, I saw, so if I press that...
That's a preset tamper.
It clicks.
Preset to about 30 to 40 pounds of pressure.
But you don't need this because you're an expert.
I tap the side of the group head. Any coffee that's stuck to the side of the group head falls into the middle, and then just tamp, just finish it off with a flourish to the right, and then remove any of the ground coffee that's on the lugs or the top of the group head. That's called blessing the wand. Okay, so group head into the machine, and within 2 to 3 seconds I press my water button. Ideally, if you don't press the water button within the 2 to 3 seconds, that top layer of coffee can get burnt.
Okay.
So with the coffee flow, what I'm looking for is something like a mouse's tail effect when it's actually pouring. It starts a nice dark brown colour and then gradually gets lighter as the extraction goes through. That was an extraction time of 22 seconds. Okay, ideally we're looking for an extraction time for this particular coffee of between 22 to 25 seconds.
Okay, nice. And what are we looking at when we look at the 2 glasses here?
Well, with my shot glasses, it's an indication for me that I'm looking at the white line is the amount of water volume, okay, in that 22 seconds of extraction. Okay, the crema above it is what you get from the extraction. So ideally, I can have, as a rule of thumb, I can tell that that is going to be fairly close to what I require for a single shot of espresso.
Nice.
And as a single espresso is the base for most of our drinks, being cappuccinos or lattes, ideally that's what we're looking for.
Can you tell everything about the coffee and the finished espresso by just looking and the aroma, or do you have to taste it as well?
Well, ideally taste is everything. This particular coffee, okay, it has nice reddish orangey colour to it. It has quite a high Robusta content, so I know it's going to be quite a strong coffee. Smell, it's not, you can sometimes in under extracted coffees you can smell that it's quite weak. If it's over extracted it can smell quite burnt. What I try to do, this is the way I drink my coffee, is trying to aerate my palate as I sip the coffee. Roll it around my mouth.
Similar to wine tasting.
Very similar. A lot of the characteristics of wines are in coffee.
What are you getting from this?
Well, from this, it's quite a strong coffee. Doesn't have some of the sweetness associated with 100% Arabica coffees, but ideally I'm looking for that to pull through milk and sugar. And I know this coffee well, and I know that it works very well with cappuccinos and lattes. I don't want a lingering aftertaste on my tongue. Ideally, what you want the customer to have is another coffee. Surely he's had this one. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
How could we make that better?
To be honest, I could probably look to make it a little bit, increase the shot time maybe to about 25 seconds. It just pulls more of that coffee flavour. Because it has quite a high Robusta content, then I'm trying to get a little bit more of that coffee out of the ground coffee.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Ever the perfectionist. I think this one might be for me then.
Enjoy.
Cheers.